Hello, hello. Final Fantasy XVI is a complex game and it poses a lot of questions for the anyone trying to form an opinion on it, to be perfectly honest. It is a game of it's multifaceted and multifaceted and there's about three facets. there's three different parts of the game. You have epic, cinematic boss fights. You have slow and mostly tedious walking around, getting from A to B, traversing the world, exploring the world, doing. Yeah, exploring the world. So you have exploring the world, you have talking to characters, interacting with them, finding out what they need you to do, and then just doing that, and then meeting up again, and them talking, and there's talking, and there's more talking, and there's more talking, and more talking, more talking, more talking. Now, I think most of it is very well written. So it's more akin. It's kind of similar to The Witcher without having the depth at times that The Witcher has. The Witcher has a more of a, again, humor as well. I feel humor is hit and miss in Final Fantasy 16. But it's trying to be three different things. So we have the cinematic, we have the political intrigue, the conversations, the story narrative, in terms of the talking and things and how it all interweaves and the backstory of the characters and the lore of the world. And then you have your combat and basic mission structure. So the third element is just how you get from how everything works in terms of you get a mission from anywhere, say in town, you go out, you kill some monsters, you collect some material, you come back, you give them the materials. Then the conversation you have, again, is the conversation part of it. And this sort of repeats. So there's a lot of side missions. So whilst the big main missions are good, the political intrigue is mostly well written. You can argue illogical parts of the story, and I'm totally in agreement here and there. But for the most part, the political intrigue was one of the more enjoyable parts for me. And this is all to do with, again, spoilers. Oh, it's missing. So there was a, let's say, they're over here. Yeah. So there was an empire here, and they moved here, and now they're missing. But the point is, they had a good intrigue, and I was happy to see the cutscenes where they talked, and I wasn't, too annoyed. I wasn't like begging to skip through them, which is something that happened as I played through the game. So early on, you're adapting to the different combat styles, and you get used to it pretty quick, and it gives you new powers as you progress. Yeah. And I got bored of the combat, and it doesn't really change the combat until you're at the end, and one of the final powers you get before you get to the climax of the whole thing, it does change the way you structure your combat. So I think it actually does offer an alternative to the normal play style where you just spam your abilities and do your rotation through, and you rotate through the next set, and then you rotate. So you're just rotating through sets and using abilities until you finally get a different sort of style. So had all of the icons offered an alternate play style, I think the game would be better. Whether they could do that or not, in terms of deaths, well, they showed they could do it with one of them, so why not more? That would have been better, the game would have been better, I think, without a doubt. If we had just the movie-style cinematics, as opposed to... See, let me just look over there. If we just had the movie-style cinematics and it moved from A to B and there was no walking, I feel like this game would be better if you could skip entire sections where you just walk needlessly. So, as you play through, the main story is good, you progress through, that's great. Time passes and things happen. Every now and then, the side quests pop up. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of side quests. And just in this area towards the end here, we've got this plethora of side quest centers all around the world. And now the side quests themselves, I don't think they're bad. This is where it's kind of a tricky thing to talk about this game, is that the side quests themselves aren't technically bad for the most part. Some of them are just boring, but the way in which you engage with them, in terms of you go to talk to the NPC and they have to say something interesting, because they just generally don't. And then maybe at the conclusion they'll say something interesting. Maybe it depends on the side quest, but they don't feel engaging. They don't feel immersive at times, and they feel tedious. Just seeing these green marks on my screen makes me sick. After having done so many, it's insane how many side quests I've done. It felt like a grind. It felt like I was grinding through the side quests just so I could get ready, appropriately leveled, got all my gear and stuff. I don't even need... You probably don't even need to do all of them, but there's the plus sign ones you do need to do. Exclamation's not as big a deal, but it feels like there's an onus on you to do them, because again, they're time, you have to do them in certain situations. And, you're heading towards the end of the game. You want to hear what people say, develop their stories. Some of them are sort of chained. So you do part 1, part 2, part 3 as you progress to different stages in the story. And there is this kind of development in the characters. So it's worthwhile, again, more backstory. So you feel compelled to do them. But once you start doing them, you feel like they're a chore. They're a grind. They are a pain. And every time I came back to base after doing story things, I dreaded that the side quests would pop up. I dreaded them popping up. I'm just thinking, can't we just progress all of the story and then do the side quests later? For people who want to do them. Have them pop up at the end and you can do them. But no, once you beat the game, it doesn't give you a chance to just come back after that and just do them. You beat the game. The game's over. So some games do this, some games don't. I do like when you can come back, because another thing I dislike is the purple sky. We got it around here. Part of the story, purple sky, I hate it. So I'm not going to do the side quests. I don't want to do them if I can't do it in normal weather conditions where it's nice. It's a little thing, but I'm at the end of my rope. I was at the end of my rope probably halfway through, not even halfway through the game. I felt sick in my stomach at the idea of doing more side quests, doing more combat. The combat is boring until later towards the end, where you do get a different alternative way of doing it, which I embraced, because it just made it so much easier to get rid of the copious mobs. So many enemies in the game, and so many of them, 99% of enemies are uninteresting. I can't imagine playing New Game Plus, because the biggest problem I think with the combat is that the enemies have too much health. So I played on the adventure thing. I highly recommend you play on story mode, because it's not worth it. Them having more health adds nothing of value. They're just sponges. It doesn't add anything to the game at all that they have more health. It just takes away. It just makes the combat last longer when it shouldn't, because the longer it goes, the more you're just rotating through the same cycle of abilities. Maybe you're changing every now and then. You're going through a cycle of your abilities, waiting for the recharge, the cooldown go down, and then you can do another cycle of abilities. And doing it multiple times, you lose the impact. You lose the enjoyment. And I've lost the enjoyment from the combat, of the basic combat situations where you go A to B, you go through the path, you fight one group, another group, another group, another group, boss battle. It's just... And the bigger enemies are really annoying too, because they've got even more health, and you've got to stagger them with the stagger bar. But the stagger's okay if you know what you're doing. That's not a big issue, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just... I felt like they thought so much of their combat that they wanted to give you a chance to run through it so much that you got sick of it. And I'm sick of it. Now, the big icon fights, the big boss battles, they're still good, but some of them can be tedious as well. Some of the icon fights, the icon thing has too much health, and it's just, you're just running around for ages, just cycling through the same abilities again, waiting to really recharge, and then you go again, and then you're just dodging, and then you're dodging, and then you hit a couple times, and you dodge and dodge, and you hit a couple times. It does not feel enjoyable at times. Now, there are other times it does, because this is a game of highs and lows. Highs, you're up there in the stratosphere, literally. Lows, you're talking to these idiots who keep calling you Sid. Ugh. So one of the things, okay, spoilers, it is what it is. This is a freaking spoilery review. This is my thoughts and feelings. I'm Frosty510, by the way, like and subscribe. Taking someone else's name, I think, is one of the worst writing devices, story devices you can use. So having a character die and then your character go, I don't want to be me anymore, call me that guy's name because we've got to live on his legacy, is so fucking stupid. Yes, I swore. I'm not sorry. It's fucking stupid. I hate it. It's throwing away your own identity, which you're the main character. The whole freaking game is about you building up you. You saving the day. You going on the side quest helping people. You helping the world, saving the world. Not some other dead person. And you taking their identity and then not having your own it's infuriating. It drives me nuts. When these stupid NPCs call me that name, I'm like, shut the... And I just lose my shit. So I'm happy some of them do call you Clive, because this is Clive's story. Clive is the main character. Clive. No fucking other names. Stupid. So yeah, that drives me nuts, because it's totally unnecessary. And I feel one of the things, the weaknesses of the game, in terms of the story, is that you do big things, but no one in the world knows who you are. Except for these people here in this hideaway where you live. Everyone else, and then again your acquaintances who know your identity, but there's no grander world of, oh, the hero Clive, he's just done this and done that, or the bad guy Clive, he's done this, he's done that. It's just, they don't do a good job of having your third person group, other people going, oh, we got to do something about that guy. You're supposedly an outlaw, but no guards in the entire game go, oh look, it's that outlaw, stop him, arrest him. Because, like, for one thing, there's no united world, but for another thing, information it doesn't flow through the world in a way that sometimes it does and it doesn't make any sense, and other times it doesn't and it doesn't make any sense. It is incongruous with the way that everything happens, is that you are nobody because you've thrown your identity away to say you're someone else. Even that person doesn't have any recognition, except for with these small little niche people that person met before, and but it's just, it's not nice. It doesn't, against lots of games have this issue where they are not able to sort of establish your heroism to the wider world and make you feel as though you are, saving the world. Sort of, it's kind of like, again, this is compartmentalization. You're in this area, they're doing this thing, moving here to A to B to C. The movement through the world makes no sense at times, where you teleport with your waypoint thing and everyone else has to take a boat, and then everyone else sort of teleports as well, and then they don't teleport. So there's a lot of this, how do we get from A to B to C when we teleport like 5 seconds? And we get really far, the other side of the world, and then we go, let's teleport back. And it's like, oh, we've got to get the boat all the way over there. How are we going to do that? We just teleported all the way over there. God damn, it's a bit weird. But again, political intrigue is good. For the most part, I do like the story. I do like the characterization, the character development for the most part. Some of it's a little lackluster, but lots of the important side missions, they do offer you some depth of character. So you do know a bit more about the people around you. Whether you can actually do anything with that, no, not really. And I mean in like a positive way. I don't feel like the game is missing certain things. Just a couple scenes of, hanging around and joy and the people here having good times and things. And there's some messaging, I suppose, is a big part of the game. But they don't focus enough Again, they focus on pain and suffering and enduring through hardship and survival and things, but there could be a bit more focus on the positivity. I think the positive side would have made the game different, a little different, and I do think that, but it just sort of comes from the nihilism of the writers and that sort of stuff. It's where they think that, again, you're saving the world, but you're not saving it from hardship and suffering. You're saving it from complete destruction, but you're not saving it from the hardship, because that's just a natural part of life. So it's realist, is what it is. It's not hopelessly optimistic. It's not, naively heroic. It is realistic, for the most part, when it comes to just the base human emotions and the fallout of and the consequences of things in the end. But I just feel as though at times the machinations of your, grand enemy, spoilers, grand enemy is a grand enemy, and the way it weaves the world and then talks about, it doesn't make a lot of sense at times, because it talks about, this happened, the pain and suffering, and then it caused all of that to happen. So it's like, eh? But yeah, I mean, that's going to happen with the bad guy. They're going to make not a lot of sense at times, and other times they're okay. But it's, again, it's great that it offers you all the, information. You can go and check it and read all of it yourself, so you can learn a bit more. It's nice. It's nice that. But yeah, so the leveling and progression. Let's talk about the progression real quick. I suppose the best way to do it is just go grab my gear here. So you start off with the basic weapon, and then the game randomly gives you better ones. So these purple ones, some of them are crafted. Oh, the blue one gave it to me. It gives you stuff. So I don't have the best weapon in the game because I haven't crafted it, because I just can't be bothered. But at no point do you feel like your weapons matter that much, because you just get a new one after you open a chest and there's randomly a new one in there, like with the coral sword. Same with all this stuff, you can just get random new ones. And then every time you come back after story missions, you can make a new thing, like the green ones here. And then you can upgrade it to +2, which is all you get. So this, so yeah, it's very basic. It's not very good, I'll be honest. There's no choice. So one of the things I wanted was the weapons would buff certain abilities or certain icon types, certain, elements and things. But they just don't. And then you just get some health and defense. They're very uninteresting. I don't know how they've gone this direction or why they've gone this direction, but it is odd. One of the things where you do have some choice is the accessories, but I, for the most part, didn't see this as a choice at all. So you can upgrade certain abilities with like more damage or more duration or reduced cooldown, but that's dumb. Why would you do that? I just got increased XP. For most of the game, I had on increased ability XP as well. Where is it? Oh, it's around here somewhere. There we go. XP, guild. There we go. No, it's none of those ones. Oh, it's around here somewhere. So the point is you get more XP with certain accessories, and I don't know why you take them off. So that means you have one slot. Until you've got enough ability XP, you've got all the abilities you'd like, you only have one slot, and I just put the attack +12. And then once I got enough abilities, I put defense +30. Because defense +30 is massive. And attack +12, that's pretty good. I can't fathom focusing on a certain ability and then getting like a cooldown reduction. I just don't see the point of that, because you rotate through your abilities. By the time you've gone through that group, maybe not even using your ultimate, the cooldown's done. And you can use your back ones, and then you go through again. You just rotate through your abilities. You don't even need cooldown reduction. It feels like overkill. So, what can make the game better? More slots for accessories. 5 slots for accessories would be massive. Absolutely would change the game for the better. Here's the full skill tree. Boom. See, he's spoiled. He's spoiled now. See, he's spoiled. Look at that. Look, he's spoiled. He's spoiled now. See? I need to buy some potions. I used them all in the boss fight. See? That's how you do it. So it's a complicated game. The questing side of it is the weakness in my mind, and so much of it is really just not even the dialogue itself. It's the little load times, the pauses in conversations that you can't skip. So you can skip the talking once they're talking, but you have to wait for them to start talking. So you have like this little load period as the screen pans down towards the characters, and then they start talking. And there's these little bits, and afterwards as well, after every conversation, there's a little load of little screen, and then you can move. And there's these little things which add up over time, and they drive me insane. It's odd, because the load times are really good in this game, but the conversation load times aren't that great. For some reason, there's this need to have like a smooth entry and exit point to conversations, which does not feel smooth. It doesn't feel good at all. So combat, I think, is where they do much better in terms of you can jump in. I'm just going to beat something up. All right, let's do that. Go somewhere nice and calming. Beat something up. Here's a good spot. Here we go. The way you enter and exit combat, I think, is great. So you're in the open world. You're running around. You see an enemy. And then you're in combat. And that's smooth. And what I don't understand, again, you just sort of spam your abilities, rotate through, switch to the next one. And then you rotate through again. Very, very basic. Very, very basic combat. Now you say, oh, you can juggle them in the air and all that sort of stuff. That's just... yeah, good for you. It's pretty goddamn basic. You just spam, you're holding your R2, square, triangle, switch, square, triangle, switch, square, triangle. One of the things you can do, again, this is Odin, you can do a whole different thing where you just charge up your Zantetsuken and then do a big attack, which is cool. But yeah, it's a pity none of the other icons are that dynamic. There's something going on. You got the Chocobo. So one of the good things in the game is definitely the Chocobo. Ready, go. It's so helpful to be able to run past combat, because combat is a tedious pain in the ass. So the Chocobo means you can run past it, which is why it's good. That's the only reason it's good. It's not that much faster than when you sprint. A little bit, but it just doesn't feel that great. But it's really just running past combat. So they offer you a way to run past combat. I wonder why. And then in lots of the game, you can't run past it because you can't equip the Chocobo. So you got to go through these gauntlets where you go wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, or go through that doorway for another fight, go through the next doorway for another fight, go through the next doorway for another fight. It is... Let's go back. It's infuriating. So what I want from conversations... I don't want to even start on any of these things. I don't want to talk to any of these people. I have to show you. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, God. No, not Byron. No, let's just do it. I'll show you what I mean. So this bit here, the load, then we start talking. Okay. You skip through all this conversation. I don't give a shit. Then we have a pause here.
It seemed we must. But where do we? True. The realms as you serpents, and yet, in short. But how would one even? The arm, sadly. But I do know. I thought he was returned. He was.
Voice acting is good, by the way.
Of course, yes. And he's agreed to help. Havlis, I extolled your many Peter and mine, dear, my boy.
Pause. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, there we go. All good.
I'll leave for random. Would you send us? Of course. Excellent. No.
Okay, then we have the quest accepted crap. We don't. That is. And then we have another pause. And still paused. And now I can move. So this is. It's seconds, but it adds up. It adds up, especially when you just want to get them all done. Because you feel like you have to get them done. So now I've got the goddamn greens on my screen. And there's more bloody things. Oh, God. Ugh. It doesn't seem like much, but it adds up. Because there's a lot of dialogue and a lot of side quests, and a lot of the side quests you have to go back and talk to them. And then they keep talking. And they keep talking and talking. And talking and talking and talking and talking. And then it's just, what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time on these when we have big cinematic boss fights? We have the pinnacle awesome stuff flying around, battling giant things. We've got the cool shit, and we're wasting our time with this dumb, dare I say it, Final Fantasy XIV questing. It feels odd that you can have such highs and then you have half the game is just dedicated to busy work. The game, I would love a mode, here we go, a movie mode, where you just go through, you don't have any of the walking things, I said at the start, no walking parts, none of these side quests, only the ones with the plus, again, they're debatable, you can just, I'd love it to just be able to just skip them all, no side quests until you finish the game, and then you can go and you have all the side quests to do. Then you feel like you've got a huge amount of stuff to do. It doesn't make the game flow better. So pacing is an issue, because you have these segments where you're doing side quests, where you're walking around. These slow segments, breaking up the rhythm of these great, fast-paced, giant, big battles and big story developments and actual conversations that matter, between characters that matter, in moments that matter, and just broken apart by this crap, boring side questing. Now, not that they're bad once you're in them, it's just having to do them is this burden that just weighs you down. Now again, this is my feelings, my thoughts. I know people will disagree or whatever. This is the sort of game it is though. This is a game that's polarizing. But it's like polarizing between like is it a 7 or is it a 10 out of 10? It's like, yeah, I think, again, depends on your experience. The highs are so high. The highs are high and the lows are low. That's the kind of game it is. It ain't consistently mid, it ain't consistently high, it ain't consistently bad. It's just up and down. I dreaded combat encounters though. As we went through the game, I streamed the whole thing. As I went through, I dreaded it. I dreaded combat. I dreaded side quests. I was screaming at the screen when I came back right at the end of the game. This is because again I finished it, come back in. And then all these green arrows spawned. I started screaming. So much of this gameplay, so much going through the game, I've been screaming at the game. So thankfully I streamed it on mute. I muted myself because I had to. Because I couldn't stop swearing. And every time someone called me Sid, fucking idiots, every time that bullshit, I had to swear. And then all this stupid side quest, I was losing my mind, and then combat after combat after combat after combat, in irrelevant combat after irrelevant combat against mob after mob after mob that we've beaten already 50,000 times. We've beaten a million freaking times. That you've done a million times. You've done your freaking sets of abilities, your rotations again and 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 again. You've done them all. There's too much. Again, have that in New Game Plus where there's a million mobs. It's not necessary. They have taken what could have been an amazing 10 out of 10 game and they've added so much bullshit to it that it drops it down. Let's just go straight to the accusations. I think the Final Fantasy 14 elements of the game, the base part of Final Fantasy 14 of just the being in the world, exploring the world, doing the side quests, are fucking shit in this game. They're the shit. They're the problem. They are the baggage. And dare I say it, Yoshi P, that's the baggage. Now, the Devil May Cry combat, it ain't Devil May Cry combat. Because the combos and all that stuff is locked behind doing stage replays. And so you don't earn them naturally. You don't have the system in place as you're playing through normally. Which means it's fucking irrelevant. So calling it Devil May Cry combat is being a bit generous. Because you mostly just, oh yeah, you can jump through the air. And you're just spamming your fucking abilities, which you've got 2 slots. You should have 3 slots. Because you've got 3 abilities for every icon, and then you've got your ultimate. You should be able to use all of them. It limits you. I think it to its own detriment, it limits you. Again, you can use the master thing and then swap the other ones, but it's just stupid. Why you only have 3 different icons to choose from? You can't have all of them on a bar and go through every single rotation. Which I think would be much better. Make you feel much... I think it would just feel better to be able to have access to them. Because you're supposed to be this all-powerful absorber of all these abilities and you can become super strong. But it's like, no, you have to choose this one, and then your ability points, you got to do this, and then there's no point upgrading it to the 3rd ability thing because it just means you can move them. So you're actually wasting all your resources, but you only need to upgrade them once, and that's enough. You don't need to upgrade them twice. And it's just... Again, and you wouldn't know that unless you press the details. And you just think, oh, you should do this and that. You've got to actually... It's not complex, but it's... Whatever complexity there is in this game, the complexity that exists doesn't benefit the player. It doesn't benefit the game. It's just a little bit of tedium. A little bit of, oh, no, wait, it doesn't work like that. And then everything is locked behind stupid accessories. Because you just have to have... To get more damage, you have to have the damage accessory. And then the cooldown. But it's like, why would you ever take off increased XP? Leveling, so you have better stats, is so much worthwhile. And way better than upgrading a specific ability. It's just... And you lack ability points so much with all the different icons and things. And it just feels like you need way more of them. So again, you've got 2 accessories locked up. You can't do shit. I'm rambling. I'm ranting. So Final Fantasy 16 rant now. Jesus. Supposed to be a fair review. Honest thoughts, but my God. The potions and things is dumb because you just put the dog on there because you don't accidentally use the potions. It's so easy to just accidentally use them. So you just have the dog on there. Then the dog... Oh my God, let's talk about the dog. So you can get some accessories to boost the dog's damage. I don't understand why. Now, I played through the whole game and I haven't even got full Dromy Striker pedigree. But you can't level up the dog. You just have a kind of pedigree thing of familiarity, but you don't even notice it because it doesn't pop up that it's increased. But it does that. Look at that. But you can't control when it does that. So basically, it's just you. And then what little thing you have is jack shit. In terms of... There's no customization, really. Except for the abilities. And it's just picking which rotation you'd like to go with. And you can mix and match, but it's... I just don't... You just find what you're used to pretty early and you'll stick to that for the most part. Until later on you get the Odin one and that's interesting. Oh, I said something. Spoilers. Okay, so since I'm going in that direction, let's just do it. Let's rip the band-aid off. Disappointing that you don't have an icon fight with Odin. Disappointing that you lose fights in cutscenes. Nothing more frustrating than losing fights in a fucking cutscene. Disappointing that it's so obvious when you're going to go, oh, we're going to have the fight here, but we're not going to kill them because we're going to fight them later over there. When they have the icon fight over there, we'll have the other fight over there. This obvious breakup in, oh, we won't fight them full there, we'll fight them again later. And it happens so many times that you go, this is a bit brain dead. Oh, we didn't kill him? Oh, we're going to have to fight him later. When he goes big now, he's big now. He's really so huge. And it just... I think the early on Garuda one is probably one of the worst. In terms of, oh, she ran away over there. Oh, some random thieves attacked her. And then, oh, she turned over there. And then, oh, we're battling there. That was just poorly written. Poorly written. So much of the game is poorly structured. It's probably the best way to put it. Because the conversations and things are fine. I think they're good. Like, the main character's dialogue and things, I think they're good. Voice acting's really good. But some of the structured... How we get from A to B is so contrived that it just seems stupid. And then once we have the, you know, Nemesis, ultimate evil character we're going to fight, their contrivance is stupid too. And the way that they impact other characters to do their contrivance, the contrivance of the contrivance is stupid. But it's a good game. So, I'm losing my mind. You hear me swear a lot. I'm not sorry. But it is a good game. It is worth playing. I do recommend it. The side missions are fucking stupid, and I want them all to be fucking deleted. Purple Sky is fucking trash. I keep swearing. Oh, Jesus Christ. This game makes me angry. It makes me upset and frustrated because it has the potential to be a 10 out of 10 stellar game, but it ruins it with stupid, tedious bullshit. And the combat would be so much better if all the enemies had half the health, especially the big ones, because you wouldn't get the time to get sick of it. But because you have to go through, rotate your abilities again, do some of the icon fights, you're going to keep going again, not going, oh, health bar, oh, another phase, another health bar. It doesn't, it loses the impact because you go, oh, I've just done all my things. I've just gone through, oh, I haven't done that much damage. I've got to do them again. Oh, and now we got them staggered. Now let's do the abilities then. Oh, save my abilities. I'm about to stagger them. So just let me hit it with my stick real quick. Oh, and then I rotated my abilities again. Oh, then I got to do it again. Some of the fights are way too long. Way too long. And the mob things could all use half health, and just make you feel strong and powerful. But not... Some of the big guys, even the big guys on half health, like the little, I mean, they're still, the big dudes with the big axes and things, if they had half the health, they'd still be a pain in the ass, but they'd feel fairer, it'd feel more enjoyable. So the idea of having New Game Plus, and they have more health, is fucking stupid. I cannot imagine anything worse than playing through Final Fantasy 16, and the enemies have more health, more grind. It's such a... There's this grindiness. It's just... It grinds me. I've been grinded by the game. Not the other way around. The linear worlds... it's not open world. There's like sections and things, and they interconnect with narrow pathways and things. At first, I thought the game would be really strict arcade style, like as in different stages, and then you could play through but then it opens up. So I was happy it opened up. It didn't open up like as much as I would have really liked, but I'm happy it opened up at least. The environments of things, they all look fine. I think the graphics aren't that great. I don't think it's as good as Horizon Forbidden West, graphically. The character faces can be really bad. Animations of the face capture isn't that good. It isn't at the standard I'd expect. So, and the actual designs of the characters themselves, I think Clive is fantastic. And I'll put a full stop there. Yeah, I'll put a full stop there. The icons look great. I think they're really good. Their design is great. Most of the characters, I don't think their character actual look itself is that great, that memorable. The romance is good. I'm happy with that. No problems with that. Is Jill the next internet waifu? No. No, I'm afraid. No. But she gets a chance to show, a bit more than the other ones did. So, power to them. What's memorable? There's a couple icon fights that are really memorable. Will I remember the tedious bullshit going up a tower, fight after fight after fight? I do remember it now, which is unfortunate, but I hope I forget it. So there's a lot about the game I feel like if in 5 years people will forget the bad things and they'll only remember the good things, and they'll come back in the game and go, oh, it's a bit tedious. And then, I just got to get to the next bit. Oh, I just got to push through, get to the next bit, get to the fight, got to get to the part. It's like all the good bits are held back by these bullshit. And it's like you have to push through. You fight the game for fun and enjoyment. You fight against it. It's a challenge to have fun in Final Fantasy 16 at times. It just feels like you have to fight your way through. And it's not a positive thing. Again, it's not like God of War Ragnarok, because that's more open world, I would argue. More open world, and there's more ticking boxes in the open world. There isn't ticking boxes in this as much as just having the side quests to do and the bounty board stuff. Bounty board, I wish it was marked on the map. That's my only complaint about that. But for the most part, all the enemies have just stacks of health, and it's just not fun fighting them after a while. I mean, the feeling of combat, one of the weaknesses of the combat is that you don't have the visceral impact on the enemies. So you're not cutting off their legs. So it's not like Monster Hunter, we cut the tail off and you feel that, their sort of their pattern changes as they lose health. It's not like that at all. The monsters have a set pattern. They'll just do that. And then you'll just do yours, and you'll do yours again, and you do your, your whatever your combination of abilities you prefer, and you'll do that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And maybe you'll have an ultimate in there that you're waiting on a longer cooldown. But you'll just, go through your rotation. And it's because it sort of ingrains in you this is the best thing for damage. And you feel like, oh, that's the way to go. And you just do that, and you keep doing the same thing again. Again, you get different abilities, you try and add them in the mix. Even then, though, it's just, when you hit the enemies, it's like you sort of slapping them. And you slap them to death. You don't cut shreds off them with blood going everywhere. There's no visceral combat. There's no crushing their bones, burning them. They're not actually burned. So there's no actual effect on them. Except for, you're in your main story part, your main quest, then you have that sort of a little bit of things changing and different phases in the boss fights and things. But it doesn't feel that immersive in terms of the combat. I'd love to be able to chop off, say, the below, the tentacles. And then, and it's got less tentacles. Even if it doesn't have that much of an impact on the fight itself in terms of, how much health they lose because they've lost more tentacles, it would just feel good. And then you actually stick your sword in things. You don't really, you can stab it down on them when they're on the ground, the little ones, but it's odd. Like there's no monster blood, like it's blue blood or something that sprays everywhere. It's very sort of clean, again, I can understand the argument of it being very corporate and things and it not having, but it's just, yeah, it's disappointing in a number of ways, but there is a big positive. So I really enjoyed the Archon fights. I'll say it again, they're just really good. Alright, I've been rabbiting on now. This video is way too long. Oh god. No, it's fine. What do I want you to get from this video? The game can make you feel one way or the other, or many different ways. It can make you feel something, so that's a positive. It's capable of eliciting an emotion, whether that be frustration or annoyance. But there is positives. There are bits. Did I smile and laugh or be happy? Not really that often. But I mean, the world isn't. The world is quite macabre. So it's quite. There's a bit of depression, greater depression in the world itself, and some of the concepts are quite dark. And the whole bearer thing. And like they're basically slaves, but they're the only ones that had the magic. And then it's like, why don't they use the magic to kill the people? They keep saying they're telling them what to do because it makes them die from a curse. Because if you use magic, you die from a curse. So there's a lot of unpleasantness in the world. So there's, again, hope and positivity could have been a bit more powerful. But I can understand from the realism sort of view of the world. You have that. But yeah, this purple sky is shit, isn't it? Isn't it fucking horrible? God damn. Compared to the normal sky, which is bright and beautiful, it's trash. Why would you want to do side quests with this shitty fucking purple sky? Oh god, I've sworn too many times. Alright. But the game is worth buying. I did a separate video. More quick. About whether the game's worth getting. I think it's a good game, but it is flawed. If I was to rate it out of 10, I think I'll be generous and say 8. That's me being generous. Is it better than other Final Fantasy games? It's different. So I don't feel like it's too fair, but that said, there's a lot of 14 in it that I don't like. But there's the positivity of 14 as well, in terms of the big cutscenes and big battles and things. But it's like only the cutscene part, not the actual. And there's a bit of the combat as well, in terms of the, like raid boss style, dodging the big danger zone lines on the ground sort of stuff. But you can just spam dodge for the most part. Except you shouldn't really, but it feels like it's just easier. Or you can use the block thing, but it's a weird thing. It makes me feel all sorts of ways. I played through it, and I'm just like, so many times when I'm playing through the game, I felt so frustrated, so angry, and just screaming at the game. Just over the way it treats the player. It would just be so much better. It'd be half as long if it was just the cutscene stuff. Important conversations, character development, none of the side quests, and you just go through, you do your big boss fights. You don't even worry about the progression because it means fuck all. And you just get the abilities as they come and you deal with it as they come. And it'd just be more fun. It could be a much more fun game and less tedious if they just cut so much of the content. Or just placed it afterwards, so that after you finish it, then you can do the side quests. If they just reposition things, it would feel so much better. The wider world, is it worth exploring? I don't feel like exploring it. It's not a... I've done so many side quests everywhere, it's just a pain in the ass. I don't feel like exploring these things. I know I've done the bounty things. They're generally like, right in a little spot, or like there, or like there, they're... You're not rewarded for exploring unless you're in like a main mission. Then maybe you got a chest with something good. But everywhere else, you just get there's random loot around the world which gives you like 10 gil, which is fuck all. Absolutely fuck all. I had 200,000. I bought some songs just right at the end. Okay, let's talk about the music. So yeah, again, there's no incentive to really explore the world. Doesn't feel there's any incentive at all. There's just tiny little pittance of shit. There's no collectibles in the world to collect. No ticking boxes, I suppose, because there's just nothing fucking to do. There's no chocobo racing. There's no gambling. There's no card game. Music is shit. Some of the music is good. So I'll say there's only one good song, and the one during the prologue start thing, the battle between the Phoenix and the Ifrit. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. in the demo, the one from the demo, that song is okay, but they use that song like 50 times. Every song they use way too often. I had to change the music here so you wouldn't be destroyed. The bass music is fucking trash. The battle music is fucking trash. It's trash because it has a okay part that is battle music, and then it has a low. So every song has an up and a down when they should just have a consistent little loop. Something simple, up-tempo loop, just keep it on a loop. Don't worry, don't overcomplicate it, don't add it up and down. No, they add it up and down. So they have, every song has an up and a down, and it doesn't match with the combat itself in terms of if you're going a fight that long and that part of the song kicks in, you're just like, oh, fuck off. It doesn't, and so many of the different area songs are just average or below average. They're not memorable. Apart from that one song, the icon fight thing in the demo. Da 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 da. Everything else is not memorable. Some of the theming in the last area, that's a bit better, but at the same time, just not memorable. It's just not a well done soundtrack for a game. Controversial take, whatever. I don't think they did a good job. And it's just, I just compare it. I think about, do I want to listen to these songs again? And I go, maybe the icon one, but that one, even in that, if the icon fight goes too long, the song just gets boring and annoying. It's like, it's okay for that one little bit of crescendo, and then if it keeps dragging on the fight, it just becomes annoying. You lose. They don't have staying power. And I think maybe people will say that about the game as well, which is a bit harsh, but maybe there's some truth to that. I played Final Fantasy. I played a lot of them. But all the other ones had much more memorable tunes. I can tell you right now. Even 13, but he had really good music. I really liked the music in 13. 12, yeah, 12 had good music. 11, yeah, fuck 11. 10, 10-2, yep, definitely. 9, definitely. 8, definitely. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Every one of them had better music. I didn't think, yeah. Every single other Final Fantasy had better music. So we got gameplay that gets tiring because of enemy health bars. We've got bad music. We've got storytelling, which is okay. Political intrigue, which is okay. Conversation stuff, which is well written, well voice acted. The story overall being kind of strange at times, making no sense at times, easily to pick flaws in. The movement of the characters through the world not making a lot of sense at times, teleportation and then other people not teleporting, and then the pacing through the world. The positioning of side quests and semi-open world tedium is odd here and there. Some of the main missions are side quests. They just pretend to be main missions, which just forces you through them, which they should really be optional, which, again, why it's so tedious. The gear progression is meaningless. Accessories, there's not enough. If you could have 7, 5 or 6, if you get more, they'd be better. The bounty board is okay, but they'd be better if they marked them on the map, because it's just, sometimes it's a pain in the ass, because if you haven't unlocked the area, you don't know where it is, and then you haven't got the name on the map, and you can't find it on the map because you haven't unlocked it yet. It can be a bit annoying. Honestly, if they just mark them on the map, it'd be a million times better. But even so, it's just enemies with more health. What's so exciting about that? The interactions with the enemies aren't as interesting as they should be. Like, you're not cutting off tails or limbs and things. And when you stagger them, maybe you could do really debilitating stuff. The immersion with the world, here and there, mostly not here. Your main character, no one knows who they are, except for your close friend group. And then they try and take the identity of someone else, which makes it even more fucking annoying. The controlling stuff's okay, but again, you should have more icon abilities available, mapped, so you can do more. The combat is very limited, and then pretends to be not limited. So it pretends to have more options, which you do technically have the options, but do you feel as though in the combat itself, in the heat of the moment, you have the options? No, not so much. You're just going through your rotations because you know that's going to work. And it's just a matter of time until you defeat the enemies, because dodging is just, you know, OP. You just dodge. You just keep dodging. Icon fights are great, but tedious at times. So it's a 8 out of 10 because the highs are so high. It's a game of super high highs and then super low lows and then this middle bullshit. Is the hideout, the headquarters, interesting? Not really. It's just a pain. So one of the other things I'll talk about really quickly before I finish, your speed. You can't sprint in town. So it just feels like you're being... It feels like you're being choked. They don't let you just go quicker. So you have these segments where you're just going slow. We're in a rush to save the world! And you're just sort of jogging. And then you get into the open area, you can sprint. You need to be able to sprint in town. Sprinting in town absolutely has to be added, has to be an update, because it's just painful. And look how big some of these areas are, and you're just running around. It's one of the worst parts of the game, running through towns. And then, I'll just go through that town, go through that one, and then, where is it? There's one in particular that's absolutely shocking. So, I'll just go through the Delamar, and you got to run through there, and then, I'll just go from there to there, and you got to run through super slow, light jog, and then you go on your chocobo, and then you can move a little bit quicker. It's painful. The game. I swear I'd finish the game 10 hours quicker if it wasn't for this, just all these areas where it unnecessarily slows you down. I want to be able to skip through the conversations. I showed you how long it takes to little load thing, little load there. Rather than being smooth, you just walk over to them and then you're talking to them. There's always a little bit of a load thing, which doesn't make any sense. I don't understand the implementation of these things. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, so it's not as... The conversations could be more smooth like combat. I feel like if they understand that messaging, that'd be amazing. I doubt it, though. But it's worth playing. I think it's worth playing. At your own pace, on the lowest difficulty, on story mode. Take your time. Take your time. Be real slow. Maybe skip the side missions. Yeah, skip the side missions. Yeah. This has been my thoughts and feelings. Frosted by 10, like and dislike, and tell me in the comments how you disagree with me. You think the music is the best music ever. Like, mate, listen to the Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack. Then tell me what you think. Yeah, I just, I'm done. I'm done, really. I'm done. Yeah, it's been a long video, but that's okay. The more I talk, the less people listen to my part where I swear. I'm joking. Who knows? If you subscribed, thank you very much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, well, I understand, but please subscribe. If you leave a like, a dislike, I do see dislikes. You can feel free to dislike. I will know there's dislikes. I'm aware, I do check. But I prefer, you leave a comment. But that said, it is my experience, my opinion. Tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the game? Have you finished the game yet? If you haven't finished it, don't watch this, please. I'm begging you. Yeah, tell me what you think. Do you think that there's some parts that are too tedious? Do you think I'm just not a whiz at combat? You can see on my streams how my combat went. I've got all the proof there. All my evidence is there. What's your evidence? Back it up. Alright then. Yeah. Controversial game. Controversial opinions. Mine being the most controversial, surely. But yeah. My complaints are my complaints. I think they're pretty... Most of the part, though, should be pretty unique. But we'll see. See if there's sort of a thing. I think, again, I do like the romance stuff, and I do like some of the character stuff's nice. But yeah, there's kind of some unanswered questions at the end, though. It's like, what happens to the Blight? What is the Blight? Alright then. I'll catch you next time. It's been Frosty Fire 10. Oh, some of the battle sounds are shit too when he goes. He's always grunting. And then whimpering. He whimpers a lot. He's a whimperer. Popular with the girls, I reckon, this game. Alright then. See ya.